Hello, D-Rock here. Welcome to the channel. It's hard to believe as one gazes over this terrain that there were thriving cultures that lived here intermittently throughout time, going back to when all this land wasn't a desert at all. It's hard to believe that this land has a history that dates back that far, but it does. To most people, this land may seem barren, empty. However, that's not the case at all. It takes some time to get an understanding of this land, the deserts, both low and higher elevations. You have to get out there and walk, feel its heat and its cold, endure its wind and hear its silence. It's quite amazing once you finally have an understanding of all the things that were utilized to exist in these lands. Survival here wasn't easy, and that is why I find this land and its past so fascinating. So please join me as I head out into the desert to discover what once was. Buenos dias. Let me tell you, it's a cold, windy morning out here in the northern Mojave. And we've got an interesting day ahead of us. So first we're going to check out what I believe to be a prehistoric cave, or a cave that was occupied by people a long time ago. And I'm not expecting to find much or anything inside the cave. Possibly just a blackened ceiling from fires. I could be wrong. There may be an artifact. There may be rock art. You just never really know, but I keep my expectations pretty low. Also, on the subject of rock art, I came across some rock art out here that I've never seen before, so we're going to check that out today. And then I'm going to find or search for another large agave roasting pit ruin. I seem to think I found another one. So we got a busy day. Gonna have to do some walking, and hopefully the wind drops a little bit. It is biting, let me tell you. But what this means out here is that we got no worries when it comes to rattlesnakes. So this is it's well worth dealing with some wind and cold and not having to deal with that. You get my drift. All right, so the cave is pretty much right in front of us up this limestone hill here, and it looks like a pretty good one. So we're gonna go check out this whole area. There might be stuff in there. You never know what we're gonna run into. Hopefully it's something of significance, but then again, it could be absolutely nothing. That's why we're going to have a look. All right, I can already see some agave up there. So we'll have a look at that as we get closer. Interesting area. Cave's over here to my left, but I'm gonna check this whole section here. See if we come across anything. All right, this is Agave utahensis, and you can see the big old stalk coming out of this thing. Some of these stalks here will get 30 feet high. See, this is the dead part of the plant here, and this is what was used in those big roasting pits. This right here, the Agave utahensis, and this was harvested in the spring. And it was right before the plant would send up these big stalks. So just before these big stalks grow, the plant concentrates its carbohydrates, its sugars, and that's when this plant would be harvested. And from what I understand, after the roasting process in the big pits, they'd cook for a couple days, a day or two, however long, they'd be uncovered, and then apparently it tastes like sweet potatoes, I believe, or something of that nature. I could be wrong. I've never tasted it. But that's what was going on when I find some of these ruins. Some of these ruins, you know, maybe look like it's a one and done type roast, and some of these ruins are massive. We're talking 20 feet across, 4-foot walls. I don't know. There's sometimes platforms built to the side of them, or they were built into a platform. It's really interesting. But the tradition, the agave roasting tradition, is in these mountain ranges all across the northern Mojave Desert. And the tradition goes all the way down, this is in the southwest United States, and into Mexico. So it's an ancient tradition, and it's still practiced today, of course. But here's another look. This is, if you're curious what's in those roasting pits, what were being roasted, this is one of the things. Maybe banana yucca as well, I'm not sure, but this was probably what was harvested most of the time, the Agave utah-ensis. All right, here's the first, and this isn't really a cave, more like an alcove. Might be a little spring in here. There's some plants growing out of the wall there. Perhaps not. It's kind of good to take a minute and check the ceiling, the walls here, if there's any rock art. It almost looks like something might have been here, some type of, maybe a windbreak or something, I'm not sure. Take a second, look on the floor here. See if we see any debitage. That would be lithic debris indicating tool processing, but I don't really see anything. But this does look like it might have held something. I don't know. Hard to say, really. I don't see anything on the walls either, so we're going to make our way to what I think is the larger cave. So there's quite a bit of agave up here. This plant seems to like this craggy limestone. You see it's all over right here. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh. The ceiling of this cave is completely black. So there were definitely fires occurring in here. Absolutely. This was definitely a shelter. And here at the opening of the cave, you can see some larger rocks. So I bet there was a wall at one point here at the entrance of this thing. There might even be, the entire entrance to this thing is just covered in dried animal feces. So I think I might stick right here. There's nothing in the cave, like artifact wise, I'm sure, unless you like dug down in it. But what are you barking at? So the main issue about going in this cave deep in there anyway is due to all the dried animal feces. Hantavirus is definitely something to consider. So I would feel more comfortable if I had like an N95 mask or something. I just don't want to inhale this stuff that you stir up. But I can definitely say without question that this cave was utilized as a shelter, humans, because the ceiling is just totally black. You know what? There might be something on the wall, so I'm gonna crawl in a little bit, just a little bit, to have a look. There's a rock art in here. Oh man, it is totally blacked in there from fires. Yeah, and the ground is just, if you were to dig down in here, I'm sure you'd find some artifacts. But look how black that is. This is definitely utilized for shelter. Without a doubt. So the entrance to this cave is just, there's animal feces all at the entrance, and then inside it I should be a little more clear when I talk about the feces. It's like the ground's completely covered in dried rodent feces. That's kind of no bueno when it stirs up the dust. That's how you get hantavirus, and I don't want no part of that. So that's why I'm a little cautious when going in things like this. But it's people were in there having fires. There's no doubt about that. All right, come on, son, warm it up. Whew. It's a chilly walk up to the cave. It's feeling a little better now. So speaking of caves, this area and these limestone mountains and cliffs and whatnot have an abundance of caves, and you never know when you'll get into one and hopefully run into some rock art or something really interesting. Most of the times it's just that you'll find a blackened ceiling and probably like rodent middens and stuff in it. So it's still fun to check out, and you never know what you run into in the desert. That's how it rolls. So we're gonna move on and go have a look at some rock art, and then we're gonna go and try and find the ruin. All right, so finding rock art out here is actually kind of few and far between. So whenever I do come across it, I definitely want to get it on film. And this site has some petroglyphs and pictographs. Now, pictographs are paintings, and petroglyphs are actually like carvings in the rock. But what's here is, there's not much of it, but you can see the ochre, the red ochre on the rock face here. You can see some of the paintings. And whatever it is, it's old, and there isn't much of it left. So very little remains of possibly any type of design or semblance of whatever this was. You can see in here, there's a symbol right there. There's some more paint here. Here, yeah, there's not much to it really, but it's still fascinating nonetheless, because finding rock art out here is quite rare, especially pictographs, paintings. So here's something here. Definitely some stuff in here. Definitely make out the red stripe here, up here, then of course here. What that may have been, no idea. It's like flaked off, broken off, weathered away. It's old stuff, whatever it is. But it's here. And of course you can see this is blackened from fires as well. And then up here you've actually got some petroglyphs. I gotta stand up, maybe get an idea of what it is there. Hard to say, but finding petroglyphs on limestone like this is actually really rare. It's not a good material to try and carve anything into, like sandstone, for example. And we get some really faded painting here. Just not legible at all. Might be some here. Yeah, I mean, it's worth noting because it's just really interesting. Of course, the whole inside of this thing is blackened from fire. Pretty cool. Pretty cool how the petroglyphs are up high like that. All right, well, let's go find that ruin. Storming pretty good to the east there. So I don't want to get into that way out here just because the roads they can go from mild to wild real quick, if you know what I mean. So we're gonna make haste in trying to get to this ruin. It's somewhere out there. Another cave. That's a pretty big cave there. Bigger than the one I was just at. Wow. Well, we definitely got to have a look at that since we're in the area. That's a big drainage right there. Man, there might be... I'm gonna have to walk this drainage someday. Look at these embankments. There's probably shallow caves all along these embankments. Man, it's big. There's some space out here, there's no doubt about that. Oh yeah, I can see from right here. The ceiling inside of things is completely black from fires. Wow, this is unexpected. Oh man. Oh, absolutely. Ooh, that's a nice one. Look how black from fires that ceiling is. That might be some paint right there. Well, it is without a doubt that this shallow cave was utilized for shelter. I mean, the whole is black from fires, and there might be some paint in here on these walls. I'm not seeing any petroglyphs. Wow. Yeah, that's your view out the cave. That's pretty sweet, huh? This is definitely comfortable enough in here to accommodate quite a few people. And I bet there was a nice wall right here at some point. How fascinating. All right, well, that was pretty cool stumbling across that. I think there's probably some paint in there, and we're gonna move on. The ruins are right around the corner. So I just checked my map, and the ruin is not around the corner. As a matter of fact, I'm looking right down at it. That's the big roasting pit right there where my finger's pointing at. I walked right by it, and I was task-oriented, staring up at this cave. Went right by the ruin. So this is definitely a prehistoric shelter, no doubt, with the big old fire pit right in front of it. So let's go down and have a look. Oh yeah. Big old pit right here. You can see by all the white limestone. That's from the fires. Turn it white. Big pit. There's the center. Got some big rocks in here. So if I come out to this side, you can get an idea of the wall of it here. I mean, the depth perception of this camera is not so hot, but gives you an idea. So this is a ruin. This is a big old roasting pit right here, and there's a nice cave right up there. There's probably more in the area. I just have to do a little more searching. There's really no telling what's all up in these mountains and hills, you know. So let's go up in the air and have a look. Well, another fantastic day out in the Mojave Desert. I mean, caves, rock art, ruins, fantastic. I think that's going to be a wrap at this point. We're going to walk on back and get on out of here. Beautiful area. As always, folks, thank you very much for watching. I got a lot more content on the way. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It's free and it helps the channel tremendously. Thanks again, folks. We'll see you next time. Do you rock out? Adios.